A very good evening to everyone and welcome to our webinar Build Back Happier. We really appreciate having you here today as we have two amazing speakers who will be sharing their diverse perspective on our topic today. My name is Dash and I'm a part of Young Minds and it's an honor for me to be your MC this evening. So kick back, relax and enjoy the session. Before we begin the session, I would just like to highlight some general housekeeping basics. We hope to be able to end the session by 9:30 p.m. and we have dedicated the last session of this webinar to Q&As. So if you have any Q&A, you can just drop your questions in the chat box. If a question comes to your mind throughout this webinar you have thought of or you would like to share our topic today, please note it down on a piece of paper or on your phone to save it for our Q&A. Lastly, we would like to encourage everyone to keep your mics off and if you're not speaking to minimize audio disruptions during the session. However, we would love for everyone to turn on your camera and utilize the chat box to leave comments, share your thoughts, or ask questions and even raise any concerns you might have. To give an overview about Young Minds, we focus on helping the youth with symptoms or disorders to get the help that is deserved, as we will never truly understand how the illness and disorders can change a person's life and how much they have been struggling with the battles. With that, we have decided to step up and play our part to help those who have been crying out to help them openly regardless of their backgrounds. We also have the vision to break the stigma among Malaysians so people who have been suffering will be able to step up and reach out for the help without having the fear of society's labels. If you are interested to know more about Young Minds and our ongoing project, feel free to visit our social media pages or our website. Without further ado, I will be introducing our guest speaker for this evening. Firstly, we have Ms. Rajalakshmi Ganesan, who is a dedicated professional with over 12 years of experience in the education industry and more than 14 years of experience in training. Her field of expertise includes positive psychology, educational psychology, and child psychology. She holds a BA honors in psychology, specializing in educational psychology, and is currently pursuing her PhD in education. Along with that, she has completed numerous certificates courses. Among them are online teaching, outcome-based teaching, and learning. She has also trained the teacher TTT certified, exerting her skills in imparting knowledge effectively. She has also published multiple articles, wrote textbook, and is currently part of several international research projects. So next we have Dr. Trendy Tan Ying Teng, the psychology lecturer, Faculty of Social Sciences and Liberal Arts, UCSI University. She has obtained her PhD Psychology of Child Development and Masters in Guidance and Counseling. She is a registered counselor with the Board of Counselor Malaysia and engaged as a guest counselor at the Bridge Communication Sdn Berhad. Throughout her career, she's actively engaged herself in giving talks, workshops, trainings, webinars to schools, NGO, and public. Besides that, she is also active in conducting research, published academic papers, and being regular invited speaker for ATV and IFM 89.3 radio broadcasts. She's passionate about conducting research that related to children, parenting, and the family-related topics. With that, I will now inviting Dr. Krandy to take it away.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Dash, for introducing me, and welcome to this webinar. I'm Krandy. All right, so I will be sharing my screen now. All right. So thank you so much for having me again to give a sharing today, because the last round, I think it was on last year, November. Yeah, and then again, nice to meet you all and also share the topic today, which called Build Back Happier. All right, so the United Nations established the International Day of Happiness and adopt a resolution calling for happiness to be given greater priority. So every year, March 20th, everyone will celebrate this Happiness Day, right? So again, this actually remind us and also it leads us to think whether we are happy. All right. So very often we hear people say, you have to be happy, happy-go-lucky, all this. But whether or not we really deep inside our heart really feel happy or not, or those happiness is just temporarily, and then whenever there's something trigger us, and then we will start to be very sad, very demotivated. All the negative feelings comes to attack us. Yeah. So this short sharing, I hope that it's like awareness to everyone to really look into our own happiness, right? So this year, the theme is Build Back Happier. So due to the pandemic, yeah, and it seems that everyone lives change and then we have to cope with it, all this thing, so we really have to build back our happier. So the world's happiest countries in this year, the 2022 edition, the top 10 country. Yeah. So they did a survey. Finland again is the country which their people think that they are happy. Right. So we can see on the screen 1 to 10, the top 10 countries. So this morning when I shared this post on my own social media, so my friends started to ask, then where is Malaysia? What about Malaysia? Right. So it's a very good question, and then we just need to look around and we just need to evaluate ourselves, whether or not we feel happy. Then I think we will get the answer already, right? So what makes Finland the happiest country in the world? We might wonder, why do people there feel so happy? So we can see they have a very beautiful landscape and nature. When you go to a place where, nice decoration or the nice natural view, all this, the environment itself will change our emotion, isn't it? So for example, just imagine, okay, maybe tomorrow is Sunday, you are not working. Then when it comes to Monday or next whole week, you are not working. You no need to go to the same place. You no need to call in the jam, automatically, psychologically, we feel happier. Okay, so the environment itself will change our feelings and also our emotion, right? I believe that every one of you agree with me, right? Okay, so chill out lifestyle. That is also another factor why the people there feel so happy. The lifestyle, your lifestyle, my lifestyle, everyone's lifestyle in Malaysia. Do you feel that you're like a robot? Every day do the same thing? Do you feel that your life maybe got no style? Your life is so boring. Everything, every day you have to repeat the same work, and then you have to deal with difficult people. You have to do a lot of tasks. There are so many deadlines given to you. This kind of lifestyle, it might lead you to no way. Okay, your feeling, your emotion again depends on your own lifestyle. Okay, if you have a bad lifestyle, basically, you will feel happy. Yeah. So if your lifestyle is so boring, so terrible, so this is a time where you have to rethink how to change your own lifestyle. So low crime level in that country, high standard of living, super education system, all these are the factors why Finland feels that they are happier. So if you want to migrate, maybe you might want to think, to move over there. All right. So then what about Malaysia? So according to this SDSN, in last year, Malaysia ranked as 81, 81st happiest country in the world out of 149 nations. Yeah. So do you think that this is somehow this result reflected everyone, whether or not you are at the level, or do you think that Malaysia should rank higher or should rank lower? Okay, but this is just based on the statistic for those who participated and they did the survey, and this is the result. Okay, right. So when we compare to other country, and then when we look into our own country, Malaysia, suicide cases, if the suicide cases keep on increasing, so basically it just simply reflects that whether or not we have a good life, we have happiness. Okay, so 609 cases reported in 3 years ago. Okay, the suicide cases, and 266 cases reported just between March to October in 2020. Just within 7 months, there were so many cases, reported. So among this, 25% of these cases committed by teenagers aged between 15 to 18. So the next question we might ask, so what happened to our teenagers? Are they not happy? Are they facing some issue, but yet they didn't get any solution? Then where are their parents? Where is the support system? What are the teachers doing in the school? And so on, So we have to start thinking. When the statistics show us this shocking number, we have to start to ask, what happened to these teenagers? Because these teenagers, if they are not happy, so how are they going to educate their children in the future? Okay, so an average of 4 suicide cases every day between January to March last year. So every day got 4 cases. Okay, so this is a very sad, report where it just shows that people living in Malaysia, we are not happy, we can't find any solution. Then they choose the shortcut, which to just end their life. Okay, so I think today we just spent a very short 1 hour, 1.5 hours to rethink, to reflect ourselves, whether or not our mentally is okay, whether or not we are happy. If you are not happy, okay, here you see the Defender Kuala Lumpur recorded over 20,000 calls from January to June last year, compared to a year before, 2020, 32,000. The calls they received. So you can imagine out there are so many people are struggling, there are so many people need help. So they call to the befrienders and then hoping that they can get some solution, they can get some help from this NGO. But honestly, I have to tell you, don't be surprised when you call them, you might not, your phone might not be picked up. Okay, don't be surprised, because I did myself. I tried to call before last time, and my student called also. Nobody pick up. This is something that reflect, our NGO is the fact that they are lacking of manpower. Okay, because I did talk to the people there, and then I asked them, I kind of complained to them, why when I call nobody pick up the phone? What if the person want to die? All the blah blah blah. Then they say, oh, sorry, we are lacking of manpower. Okay, so this is what happening out there. However, they did, do a lot of referral cases. They can lead these people to the right channel to get some help. Take, for example, counseling or clinical psychology, to do the diagnosis, clinical psychologists, or even psychiatry if they need to prescribe any medication. Okay, all right. So the positive outlook, right? So what is positive outlook? Having a positive thought and attitude towards life. Okay, so maybe just allow me to interact a bit with our friend, our people in Zoom. Those who are on YouTube or Facebook, perhaps you can leave some comment there if you have any, or interact with us. Then maybe I need Dash or any friends here to send a message here if they have any feedback there. Okay, so I just want to ask a very simple question. Okay, so now we talk about positive outlook, having a positive outlook towards life. Okay, from 1 to 10, please give a number whether or not you are having this positive thoughts and attitude towards life. 1 to 10. If you have a lot of positive thinking, you are a very positive person, whatever happened to you, you treat it so positively, then you give yourself 10. Okay, so 1 to 10. So maybe just let me do a quick survey here. So 1 to 10, how many? So I can see 5, 8, 7, 10, 8. Okay, right. Okay, luckily I didn't see one or two. That means people here in Zoom, still kind of having a positive thoughts and attitude towards life. And I believe that we can do better. Okay, so it's very important, right, to have this positive outlook. Okay, look at this. All right, so look at this picture. Is the glass half full or half empty? Half full or half empty? Right, type your answer on the chat box. What's your answer? Okay, right. So again, I just want to check what you see from this picture. Half full or half empty? Don't be shy. There's no wrong or correct answer. Okay. So let me see your answer in the chat box. Right. I can see few answers here. Hoping the rest who haven't not yet typed in. Half what? We have a participant type here, half. So half what? Right. So whoever on the YouTube or you are watching our live on Facebook, please leave your comment there. Please give your answer there. What did you see from this picture? Right. Okay. All right. Thank God. Every one of you in this Zoom, what you see is half full. All right. So let me tell you. Okay, so our perception, whether or not you are optimistic or pessimistic, okay, it just very quickly can see, based on your answer, we can see whether, which type of person are you. If you see this picture, just on the picture as half full, at least you see something, you see the water in the glass. Right? If the way you perceive, the way you see the glass is half empty, that means you are focusing on the emptiness. You are focusing on the, the aspect that is lacking, or we call it like not enough. Okay. However, if let's say you are a very optimistic people, you are quite positive, then we will focus on what we have. Okay, so this simply can relate to our satisfaction. Okay, if you are satisfied with what you are having right now, most probably you are a happier person. But if you always feel that I don't have enough money, my car is so small, I want to get a bigger car, my house is so small, I want to get a bigger house or condo. So I think you are having a stressful life, okay? You might not so happy with what you have right now, and you are expecting to have more and more and more, okay? So life satisfaction is also depends on our thoughts, okay? The way we think, the way we perceive our own life, and all this is like a package that can tell us whether or not you are happy or you are not happy or you're unhappy totally. Okay? Right. So those with a more positive outlook on life, okay, had adapted more successfully to their changing world and had continued to make plans for future. Right. So do you have plan? Okay. So do you have plan? All right, I can see some questions here on the chat box. I will address that later. So maybe just look at this. Do you have a plan? Okay, so do you have a plan? Right. Short-term plan or long-term plan? Okay, you see, what makes an individual end their life? Because, of course, they are not happy. They didn't get any solution, and they don't have any plan for the future. The plan here referring to the good plan, not the plan to die. Okay, the plan for ourselves, the plan for our family, the plan for our children, the plan for our own, what we want to do, okay, in 1 year time, in this year, or 3 years time, or even 5 years time, or even 10 years plan, okay? But we always encourage people to start from small. Okay, what's your plan this year? Okay, so do you have a plan? This is my question, and I just want to hear from you. Do you have a plan for this year? What you wish to do, what you want to do, or what you want to achieve? Yes or no? You just need to answer yes or no. Yes means you have a plan, and no simply means you don't have any plan. Okay. Or you can say no. Okay, I can see some friends here say no. You might not have any plan now, but hopefully after the webinar, you can start to think, and come up with some plans. Okay, plan is very important. Plans can motivate us. Plan can keep us move forward. Okay, looking forward, you have a plan, you want to achieve it, you want to get what you want, so automatically you are motivated to work on it, work on the plans. Okay, so just now we talk about the two types of personality, right? Optimistic and pessimistic. Okay, people who are optimistic, they tend to not make any bad conclusion when things happen. Right. So do you have this kind of friend? Whenever they encounter something, whenever something's happen, straight away they will think that, oh, died. Oh, I can't handle it. Do you have this kind of friend? Very negative thinking, very pessimist one. Yeah. They think that, oh, I can't do it. Okay. So you look at the picture here also, I can't, we can always remove the T, become I can do it, right? So do you have this kind of friend? Yeah, my next question, do you have this kind of friend? Friend like that, right? Do you have the kind of friend who always very negative? If you are surrounded by these people, I tell you, one day you will become like that. Okay, because the environment will change us, the environment will influence us. All right, so if you identify any friend of you is like that, and at the moment maybe you don't have that power to change the person, I think better you keep a distance first, social distance. But not all yes, but not all, but maybe some. Okay, then if you have that kind of strength, then you can start to influence your friend. You can give different perspective to your friend, to share with your friend. So in a way, it's trying to guide your friend to think more positively. All right, so having a plan is very, very important. Okay, so let me see. All right, so we can see some of our participants here not yet have any plans, so please think about it. Okay, so is having a positive outlook important? Right. So of course, obviously the answer is yes, because you will have less worry. If you have a positive thought, you have a positive attitude. So you won't see problem, as a terrible issue. Okay. But then it gives us some strength to look into it and face it and do something about it. So you will have less worry. Okay. You might have this kind of friend, or you yourself is like that. Every day worry about A, worry about B, worry about C, D, X, Y, Z. Okay, everything also you worry. But those things that you worry, is it really happen? At the end of the day, is it really happen? Most of the time, not happen. So whatever you worry is kind of like, take out a lot of your time, take out a lot of energy, but then it doesn't really happen. So why we want to worry so much? Okay, so you have a better physical, mental health, and psychological health. Okay, which is very true. If you have a positive mindset, you will have a better life, right? So to develop better coping skill, because when you encounter issue, when you are facing some problems, if you are not negative, if you do not have that kind of negative attitudes towards those things, indirectly you will try to get some solution, and you will develop and grow, okay, and come out with a better coping strategies, and you are more hopeful. You feel there is a hope. Okay, you are more confident. You are more confident in dealing with those negative things, dealing with those issues, and you are definitely happier. All right. So having a positive outlook is very, very important. Right. So what to do with our negative emotions then? Yeah, what to do with our negative emotion? First, we acknowledge our emotion. Okay, so let me ask you, can you still remember your negative emotions today, yesterday, or 3 days ago? Okay, what kind of negative emotions that you had? Negative emotion. Okay, please list down. Please write in the chat box what kind of emotions that you went through. Okay, you had. Maybe today, maybe this morning, someone scolded you. Out of sudden, you receive your boss call, ask you to complete some task. Then you might have negative emotions. You might feel angry. Okay, so what kind of negative emotion that you had? Right. So please list down, or maybe you need to take some time to think. So what kind of negative emotion? So we need to do some self-reflection, then only we know our mental is at what stage. Okay, and we need to know our own feeling, our own emotions, okay, before we can move forward. Okay, so I think every one of you still thinking, so that means maybe you didn't really encounter it today or yesterday, which is good. Okay, so are you really, you can't remember, or you really didn't encounter? Okay, right, I can see a feedback here. I saw a beggar have hardly enough to eat and had negative emotions set with a little anger. Well, you feel empathy, empathy, okay, which I would not say this is, negative emotions, but somehow the scene triggered you. You have that kind of sad feeling, maybe. You feel so sad to the person, you feel empathy, Yeah. So, this kind of experience can lead us to think, how good are we, how our life is so good, compared to so many others out there. Okay, it's so much better compared to others. Yeah, thanks for your sharing. What about the rest? Maybe you just give me a word: sad, happy, angry, not satisfied, and so on. Okay, right, so we have to acknowledge our negative feelings, right? So it doesn't mean that, we need to have a positive outlook, so I cannot have any negative feeling. No, that's not true, because we are not God, we are not perfect. We still are human. We have negative emotion and we have negative feelings. So we need to acknowledge, yes, at the moment I am angry. When you are angry at someone, we have to also tell the person. So frustrating with noisy environment to study. This one really can trigger, especially now. I think most of the university just finished the study week, and you are preparing for your final exam. Okay, when you want to concentrate, but there are so much noises ongoing that will trigger you. Okay, so you feel frustrated. All right, so yes, we acknowledge, yes, at the moment I am frustrated with the noises, right? So after we acknowledge, then what's next? Okay, what's next? Restructuring our thoughts. How? Restructuring our thoughts. First, we acknowledge. After that, our thoughts. Restructure means, okay, am I going to have this emotion? How long am I going to have this emotion? 1 minute, 5 minutes, or until tonight, until late night? Okay, do I want this negative emotion to be with me, okay, for a long time or just short period of time? So we need to restructure our thoughts. Okay, we need to restructure the way we think. So how? Based on the example here, frustrating with noises. So restructuring our thought is what? What is that? Maybe you can provide your answer there also. Pop quiz. So change the way we think. Okay, now very noisy the environment. Maybe it's time for me to take a short break. Okay, just go and drink some coffee, drink some, take some food. Okay, take a rest because so noisy, right? You cannot concentrate. Then okay, take a break. This is how we restructure our thoughts, right? So not just focusing on the negative part, the event itself, the issue itself, but change the way we perceive things, change the way we see things, our attitude. That will make you feel happier. Okay. Another example, let's say you are caught in the jam, KL, everywhere very jam, right? So you caught in the jam. Okay, so very frustrated. People started to horn, people started to jump queue, this and that. So restructuring our thought is, I think many of us are, applying that, which is what? It's okay. I enjoy my music in the car. So restructuring our thoughts. Yeah. All right, we have some sharing here, like thinking in my sister and brother having long time study also like me. They also need some time to play games, so I just change place to study. Right. So the noises is actually coming from your siblings. Okay, so you change place to study, which is very good. And this is what we mean by coping. Okay, so we cope with the situation, right? We restructure the way we think, then we come up with coping strategies. So when we talk about coping strategies, there are two types of resources: internal resources and also external resources. Internal resources is from yourself, okay, your inner power. The coping strategy comes from yourself. Okay, you help yourself by changing the study environment, by changing the study room. Okay, you move from the bedroom to a living room to your bedroom, something like that. Internal resources. You get the solution within yourself. External resources referring to you get help from outside. You get help from others people, such as what? You get the advice from your friends, you get help from any NGO center, you get help from the counselor, you get help from your parents, your peers, and so on. So you get the resources from outside to help you to cope with the situation, to cope with the issue that you encounter. Okay, so at this stage, the third stage is to search for the correct resources so that we are able to cope with the situation. Okay, so this is a very simple way how we deal with our negative emotion. From the beginning, acknowledgement, we acknowledge the negative emotions, then we restructure our thoughts, and the next step is coping. If you are able to cope for this round, so in a way, you are building up your strength. So next time in the future, when you face the similar issue, you are able to get the correct resources and you are able to cope with it. Okay, so keep on repeating to build up your own inner self, inner power, and you will become a better and stronger person in dealing with the issue. Okay, so right. So from left to right, you can see from the beginning, you are not happy, you have anger, you are frustrating with many things, and then you just go through these simple steps, then automatically you will become happier. All right? So ways to spread happiness. Yeah. So after we do some self-evaluation, after we know whether or not we are happy, so we need to spread the happiness. We need to let our friends, our family members around us to feel happy. Okay, don't be so stingy. Only you enjoy the happiness, but we need to also spread it to the people around us. Then how? Here I stated and share with you the 3 simple ways to spread the happiness. The first one, share positive messages, right? Show your positive perspective, okay? Share your positive perspective with the friends around you. Okay, so if the people are saying something very negative, you just give your new thoughts. You give your own opinion, you give your own idea, which is positive one, of course. So allowing the people who hear you, who listen to you, have a new perspective about the event, about the issue or problem. Okay, so you are spreading the positive messages to everyone, right? Then connect with people, show your care and support people who are in need. There's so many people out there need help. Okay, sometimes if you have friends on social media, you can see them, write some posts on their page, on their own social media. They might say that I feel sad, I feel so angry, this and that. So that is the moment, that is the time for us to show our care and love to the people that maybe we not really contact each other, we are not really keep in touch with the person. But if you see the kind of negative comments or negative thoughts, right? So I think we just spend 1-2 minutes to drop a message, to say hi to the person. It can change a lot. So connect with people. The people here referring to anyone. I still remember many years ago when one of my friends who attempted suicide, she told herself, I'm going to call my sister. If my sister pick up my phone, then fine. If not, she's going to end her life. At that critical moment. So she prepared everything, right? Corals, everything she prepared in her own bedroom. So back to the time she was suffering a lot of mental issue. So lucky that night she made the phone call. She called her sister, and her sister picked up the phone. And of course, her own sister. So her sister gave her support, listened to her, and it changed her life. So now she's living happily. Yeah. So this is just one example to share with you all. When we care about people, when we support people, even though it's a very small effort, but to them it's it means a lot already. Yeah. So last but not least, give directly. Donate and help people directly. Actions speak louder than words. Yes, we don't just speak on the paper, we just simply talk here and there, but without any action. So we need to show, we need to do something. Okay, we need to do something to help people by donating your money, by helping out people. Okay, especially during this COVID, right? Like they have this one bank food, something like that. So they give some money, or they give some food to the center, and then they will just do the packaging and then send to the people who needs it. Yeah. So there was one time I pick up the food and then I send to somebody's house. So from their eyes, I can really see that, they feel so appreciated. To me, it's like, okay lah, just pass by my house, so I just on the way sending food to them. But to them, it means a lot to them already. And then the person asked me, want to take photo or not? As an evidence. Want to take my IC photo or not? I said, no need, it's okay, we trust you. So, when people need help and we show our help, we give our help, we show our care, it will, it will turn out with a very good and positive outcomes. Yeah. All right. So Q&A, because the session is not that long, so I just mentioned a few important key points. So you can just take out all these key points and practice it. Okay, we have the knowledge, we know the skill, but if we didn't do it, it means nothing actually. All right, so maybe if you have any question, you can post on the chat box here, or if you're typing your question in the YouTube or Facebook, then I might need the admin to help me to read out. Okay, Dash, is there any question? Maybe we have 5 minutes for Q&A.
Yes, definitely we can have a Q&A. So far, from my side, there's one question from during the registration form. They actually had a question. So the question is, how can my relationships be impacted by more positivity? That's the question.
Relationship to be more.
Yes. Yes.
Very good. So I just guess maybe this person is facing some relationship issue. But it's okay. Every one of us got problem. Every one of us got issue. If you say you got no problem, that is the biggest problem. Correct or not, Dash? Yeah.
Yes,
So
I definitely agree, Dr. Chandy.
so we acknowledge we have problem. We acknowledge that we are human, so we will have problem. Okay, so relationship issue. First we acknowledge. So very good that this person at least aware that the relationship got problem. Okay, after we acknowledge, then what? Go back to the slide. If you all forget already, go back to the slide I show you here. All right, so the next one is what? The next one is restructuring the thoughts. All right, think about it. Having a relationship problem, is it end of the world? Is it, we need to have this mindset and thoughts that every relationship is just part of our life. Okay, imagine we have 100% pie chart, 100% statistic, 100%, relationship with your spouse, relationship with your parents, relationship with your peers, friends, colleagues, blah, blah, blah. All this have small portion. So if you are not handling well in one part, it doesn't mean that you are failed in the other parts. Okay, so restructuring thought. Actually, you are also okay one, Yeah, I don't know what kind of relationship, but if let's say is having issue with spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, which is very common. So don't be that negative and generalize that you fail your relationship. Okay, restructuring and it motivates you to find a solution, which is the coping, right? So how to cope with this issue? Everyday quarrel. Relationship usually quarrel, right? Fighting, argument a lot. So coping with it. You want to deal with this person for the rest of your life? Or you want to be smart, speak it out, find solution, internal resources, get the resources from yourself. If you can't get any or empty already, you use up all your energy, the fellow still cannot understand you, then have to try the external resources. Get help from others, outsider. Usually the third party see issue clearer than us, right? Okay. So I hope that my answer somehow gives some idea to the person who asked this question, yeah?
Yes, we definitely did, Dr. Chandy. Yeah, I think we have another question here by Ms. Rina. How can I or we overcome stress due to work overload?
This is a very good question. I am having this issue also. I think it's very common, right? The workload is so much and the stress is, it is so huge, right? So we first again acknowledge, okay, I'm having stress now. I am not so okay right now. Okay, we have to acknowledge. Restructuring thoughts. Luckily, I still have a job. There's so many out there lost their job, isn't it? Because of the pandemic, hotels closed down, shops closed down, the F&B having issue, all this. Luckily, I'm busy, thank God, thanks to my boss, still got a lot of work to give me. I'm so important. I'm still helping my company to keep the business running. Of course, we have to think deeply also. The task that given to us, is it reasonable? If the workload itself need 2 manpower, but because of COVID, your boss fire few of your colleagues, say bye-bye to them already, and then you are doing your ex-colleagues' work, you are overloaded. you are overloaded. You just need to do whatever you can do and acknowledge those other things you cannot complete, you cannot do it. It doesn't mean that you fail. It doesn't mean that you are lousy or whatever. It's just that the workload itself is not reasonable, isn't it? So you no need to have guilty. Yeah, you just need to find other solution, set it out, communicate. Yeah, communication is very important. Yeah, communicate with your bosses. So if they understand and understand, if they don't understand, that's it. We cannot please people. We cannot ask people to understand us. No point, because we can't change them unless the individual want to be changed. So when I teach my students about counseling, I always tell my students, if the person want to be helped, then only helping can happen. If the individual drowning in the sea, in the river, you give hand to the person, but the person don't want to hold your hand. No point. You just look at the person, say bye-bye. The person will just drown. Right? So back to individually. Okay. So very important to keep ourselves mentally healthy. We have a positive thoughts, and then you will come up with the coping. Then you have to get the resources to overcome and to cope with it. I hope I give you some idea and you can work it out. If not, you PM me later after the session. I will, give you more ideas. All right, Dash.
Thank you very much, Dr. Krandy, for an insightful session. We definitely learned a lot about having positive outlook and also, some tips to lead a successful and happy life. Moving on to the next speaker, we have Miss Rajalakshmi. Let us all welcome her.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can, Ms. Rajalakshmi.
Excellent. All right. Okay. It's lovely to see all of y'all, although I just see names, but lovely to see all your names on the screen. It'll be great if I can see you all, if you open up your camera, but it's all right if you don't feel comfortable now, but later during the talk, if you feel comfortable to open your cameras, please do. Open your camera so I can see you and interact better with you. And if you don't understand something and you're frowning, I can explain further. Right now, I'm just looking at your names. Right. So I just want to straight away jump into our amazing topic today, bringing back happiness, how to become more happier. To continue from where Dr. Krandy left off, I would like to start off with acknowledging negative emotions, right? We have to understand, we need to accept the fact that we have positive emotions and we have negative emotions. So before we go on, I would like to do a small exercise with you. If you have a piece of paper and pencil in front of you, just grab it. Or if not, if you have your phone with you, you just open your phone to and open notes or message. Right, I would like you to do that. I'll give you 5 seconds to get your paper, pencil ready or your phone ready. Okay, 5 seconds up. All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to list down 7 emotions that you felt today from the time you woke up this morning until right now. I want you to write down 7 emotions. Think about it and write 7 emotions. Once you've done writing 7 emotions down, I don't want to see those emotions, but I want you to write it down. Once you've written it down, can I just maybe you show some reaction like a thumbs up or a love? Okay, show me some reactions so I know that you've already completed this task. Sometimes it might be hard to think of the emotions you've experienced today from the time you woke up, what you did, what you had for breakfast. Did you have breakfast at all? Or was it straight away lunch? What happened during the afternoon? Did it rain in your place? How did you feel about that? Okay, thank you. YY. Right, thanks Adeline, and thanks Ishwar. Thanks Rina. Okay, thanks Elise. Okay, thank you, Kaizin. The pressure's on Jack now. Jack, if you have at least 5, it should be good. Do you already have 5? Yes, okay, good. Very well. Okay, now based on the emotions that you've listed down, the 7 emotions that you've listed down, I want you to count how many of those were positive emotions and how many of those were negative emotions. If you have more negative emotions compared to positive emotions, can you show me a reaction? It's okay. Or maybe I'll ask the reverse. Oh, okay, we have a response already. All right, so the others, I assume you have more positive emotions than negative emotion. Yeah, this is where, seeing the faces would be more, would be very helpful. Right. So thank you, Adeline, for sharing your response. So it's really good that most of you here have more positive emotions than negative emotions. I'm very happy to see that. But generally, when I do this exercise, especially with my students, they always write more negative emotions compared to positive emotions. Maybe it's a Saturday, so it's more relaxed day. But generally, we feel more negative emotions throughout the day compared to positive emotions. Even if you look at the theory of emotions, there are 7 basic emotions. And in that 7 basic emotion, the majority of basic emotion is negative emotion compared to positive emotion. Well, the reason why it is like that is because negative emotions have its importance. Back then, we need to feel fear in order to survive when we're living in the cave, those centuries ago. Negative emotions help us to become alert that something is not right, and it basically helps us with our survival. So saying that negative emotion is bad, we need to get rid of our negative emotions, it's not, that's not the way to go. We have to acknowledge it. We need to realize, okay, something is not right. That's why we are feeling these negative emotions, and we need to work towards how we can transform these situations so we don't feel these negative emotions so much. Right, so that's what I just wanted to share with you, following on from the previous question and what Dr. Crandy mentioned just now. So let me go into my talk for today. So basically, I am here to just share my strategy on how I brought myself back to become more happier, especially especially when the pandemic hit and there were so many disruptions. I also faced a lot of stress, and I was also in a very overwhelmed situation. So I'm here tonight to just share what I did to bring back the happier Raji. Okay. By the way, my what everyone calls me is Raji, not Raji Lakshmi. So yeah. So I actually have prepared a slide. So let me just share that slide. Okay. All right. So one of my biggest problem when the pandemic hit was balancing between my work and my home. So I'm married and I have a set of twins. They were 3 years old when the pandemic hit, which was in 2020. So they were not going to school yet. They were still at home. Fortunately, I have help at home, but I still underwent a lot of stress during when everything shifted from physical environment to work from home. It became very difficult for me personally, not because of everything is learning the online uh, arena. That wasn't an issue, but for me myself, the fact that I'm working at home was an issue. Okay, to explain further was that when I am at home at 10 o'clock, okay, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I start my work. So when I'm working or I'm having my classes or I'm having my meetings, I can hear the kids downstairs. They are 3 years old, they'll be shouting, screaming, laughing, crying. Although I have help to take care of them, I get distracted because I can hear them and I know they are in distress or something is happening downstairs. And I developed this guilt when because usually when you work, you don't have time to cook. And my husband loves it if I cook. So at home when I'm working, I in fact I work longer hours compared to when I was working physically, and I still don't have time to cook. So I was so guilty that I'm at home. Why can't I do things at home? I'm at home. How come I'm not helping? How come I'm not spending time with my kids? Okay. And if, let's say, I have a break in between and I go downstairs, because I usually work upstairs. So I go downstairs and I spend some time with the kid. And then I'm also very guilty because I should be doing my work. This is working hours. What am I doing downstairs? I shouldn't be spending time with the kids now. It's my working time. And this guilt really tore me apart. I was so miserable because I couldn't be a mom properly. I couldn't be a wife properly. I even couldn't be an employee properly. It was really not a very good moment for me. It was really, really, really very stressful, and I had to do something about it because I can't go on this way. It's going to really break me if I continue this way. I would like to share this quote and to share with you what I realized. Trying to do it all and expecting that it all can be done exactly right is a recipe for disappointment. Perfection is the enemy. So that's what was happening to me. I was having expectations of how I should work, expectations of how I should be at home, expectation of what I should do for my kids, expectation of what I should do for my husband. And I wanted to do all of it right because, I have a tendency, I have the perfectionist tendency. And when I couldn't do it the way I wanted to do, the things that I want to do, it just really made me so miserable. And expectation, for me personally, I feel having expectation is really a recipe for disaster because my father used to say this. Expectation is proportionate to disappointment. The more you expect, and if that thing doesn't turn out to be what you expect, your disappointment is also very, very much very, very much high. Just to sidebar a bit, just to keep it casual tonight. Speaking about expectation, I just would like to share this small little story with you. So, every morning when we wake up, like me and my husband, when we wake up, my husband usually just takes up his phone and he starts looking at his phone. He has this bad habit, right? And, I also start my day, wake up, do whatever I need to do. And then I read an article that, when couples wake up, they should greet each other first instead of looking at the phone. So an expectation built in my mind. So that the next day when I woke up and he woke up and he did what he did every day, he just turned and took his phone and was looking at his phone. I got so upset and we had a long fight. And then later when I was thinking that why this happened, it was just because of the expectation that I suddenly developed that, when he wakes up, he's supposed to greet me, so expectation is something that usually is not a very good thing. So coming back, so I noticed my kids, in the day. Okay, so when I start my day, the whole day, even in the morning, by 11 o'clock, I feel so exhausted. I feel so tired and exhausted, and what more towards 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock p.m. after finishing work. It's just so, you just feel so tired. But then when I see my kids, they are just jumping, playing, jumping, so active. And then it dawned to me that I did not do anything physical to be tired, or to be, basically to be tired. And the kids are like full of energy. How is that? I was trying to make sense of that, and I realized that we are tired not because of our physical situation, but because of our mental situation. We worry about what's going to happen in the future. We worry about the past of what we have done. We worry about the past, we worry about the future, and all this worry. And that makes us very tired. If you look at kids, they don't have any worry. They don't think about the past. They don't think about the future. They're just always in the present. And that's why they're so active. They're so full of energy. Like this, living in the moment is a gift. That's why it's called a present. So I realized that I'm not present. When I'm at work, I'm not being present at work. I'm thinking about what's happening downstairs, what's happening with my kids. And then with my kids, I'm not being present. I'm thinking of, I should finish up this work. I have this many things to assess. And, I wasn't present. And that was one reason of the many reasons that I was feeling so overwhelmed. So what did I do? All right. So I went and read up a lot of things. I love to read self-help books. I love to watch self-help video. I was trying to figure out what can I do to improve the situation. And I came across this multiple times in various different areas. And I felt that, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. When you go against your nature, you are stressed. When you express your true nature, you experience fulfillment. Now, reflecting back, when I need to do something which I don't, it's not what I like to do, or that's not me, doing it itself is very difficult. And when I actually do it, it's very tiring. But if I do something which is my nature, something that I like, something that I'm skilled at, at the end of that task, I feel so fulfilled. I feel happy. I feel joyful. I even feel at peace, right? So now the key here is, what's my true nature, right? I also like this quote stated by Michelle Obama. She said, if you don't get out there and define yourself, you will be quickly and inaccurately be defined by others. And when you get defined by others, you believe that, and you start acting according to that, but that's not your true nature. And when you start to act according to what other people think you are, again, you feel tired and you feel stressed, and all those things. So this is what I did. All right. So I tried to, I knew some things about me, but I just wanted to be sure. So I went and tried to understand myself even more. So there are a few things that, few tests that are out there, which are quite reliable to start knowing about yourself. I will share these links in the chat box later on. So I did this test, and it was pretty much what it said pretty much did reflect what I enjoy doing. Like, I love organizing things. I like to do things which I have high value of. And when I do that, I feel like I'm true to myself. So these were some of my qualities that I figured out. And so there are two things that there's this one personality test, MBTI. If you're a psych student, you will be familiar with that. So this basically tells you what type of personality you are. And then there's this another test, which is the VIA character strength test, which was developed by Martin Seligman. He was actually the father of positive psychology, and he very much is driven towards the positive side of psychology. So he came up with this questionnaire. There are two versions. There is for the child, and there's also for an adult. So this link here links you to the adult question. There are 240 questions. It takes about 25 minutes to do it, but when you do it, they give you an extensive report. It's free. You don't have to pay, but you just have to register yourself. And then it will list out what are your strengths, right? And when you know what your strengths are, you know what your nature is. Okay, so now you know something about yourself. So what are you going to do about it? So then you can think, okay, so what's my next plan? Okay, so so what's my next plan? So now I know what I am. So since I already know what I am, so how am I going to be after this? So then I defined myself like what Michelle Obama said. So I tried to think of, okay, this is my qualities, this is my nature, so what I want to be. And I came up with this, right? So I identified a picture. I found, I was really Googling for a long time. I found a picture which I feel like I want to be. So I feel this picture sort of like, you have a vision board and you see it every day, and this is whom I want to be, right? And actually, you can't really see the font here. So my name is Raja Lakshmi. So if you translate that in English, it's actually, Raja means king, and Lakshmi is actually the goddess of wealth. And the goddess of wealth is also defined as very beautiful, very graceful, very classy. So I wrote these words, and I want to be these words. I want to be strong. I want to be bold. I want to be classy. I want to be inspiring and luring. Right. And also I further elaborated on these words on what I want to be. So I established what I want to be. And when I established what I want to be, I knew what I need to do in order for me to not feel so stressed and overwhelmed over the days. So how I came to this process of how I came to my solution was I engaged in reflection a lot. Reflection basically means that you consume a lot of knowledge. You know a lot about yourself. Actually, if you can ask a counselor, actually the answers for your problems actually comes from yourself, because you know yourself the best. So engage in reflection. You process the information that you have. You're actually engaging in thinking. You engage in mindfulness. You engage in introspection. Here, I would like to share with you another strategy of introspection that I started practicing, and I think it really made a change on how I run my days and how I feel about myself as well. So this one was actually shared by one of these motivational speaker, Tyagarajan. He said one of the ways to do introspection is at night before you go to sleep. Okay, you off all the lights, you are on your bed. Don't sleep, because if you sleep, then you will just fall asleep. Sit on your bed, close your eyes, and just think about your whole day. You don't analyze it, you don't judge it. You just, like, a movie reel, just play the whole day in your mind. Okay, I woke up at my alarm rang at 5 o'clock. I pressed the snooze button and then I slept. 10 minutes later, the alarm rang again, and then I pressed the snooze again, and then I slept. Just run your whole day, everything that happened for that day. Just replay your whole day. When you first start, even when I first start, I couldn't go past 10 a.m. I was like, what did I do between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m.? You have these blocks, but with practice, you can actually get through the whole day, right? So it's very important that you don't sleep, because you will just sleep back. So you just sit down. And why this works a lot is because when you go through your day, you are looking at what you have done, and you yourself know this is something good, this is something bad, this something works for me, this is something that doesn't work for me. And when your own voice tells you, there is no ego in between. When someone else tells you, you need to wake up at 5 o'clock every day, you need to do this, we often, our ego comes up and, say, no, I don't have to do it. We don't want to listen to other people. But when your own voice is telling you, why are every day I'm pressing the snooze button? Maybe 5 o'clock doesn't work for me. Maybe I should change it to 6 o'clock. So you know that you're not a 5 a.m. person, you are a more 6 a.m. person, or you're more 7 a.m. person through that introspection. So this again helps you to get to know yourself even more. So my solution was, going back to my problem, my solution was, I needed to see my day clearly the moment I wake up. So I had to, so I started journaling. So the moment I wake up, I get ready. Before I do anything, I plan my day. Okay, I have a planning, I have a method of how I plan my day. So when I am working, I don't feel guilty that I need to go down. I'm completely present at my work because I've already allocated, this is my working time. I've already separated this. And then I stop my work and, go and see my kids or start cooking or do whatever I need to do in the house at this particular part of the day. Right. So that was it. So when I start doing that, so when I was able to be present. And another important thing that I had to tell myself is, if the day doesn't go as planned, suddenly you have a meeting which takes up a lot of time. Suddenly you wanted to cook this and you don't have the ingredients, or, suddenly your kids have homework which is too much and you can't go to the playground with them. Something happens, you have to accept it and just like, okay, so what can I do next? How can I adjust? Because if we're too rigid, then it's also a problem. And that was also my problem. When I planned that 6 o'clock, I need to close my laptop. And when I can't, I get so angry and so frustrated with myself. But sometimes, some days, I can't, I have to accept that fact. Right. And when something happens unexpectedly, one thing also that I've learned is that we shouldn't react, but we should respond. What's his name? The Google CEO, something Pichai. He mentioned about this react and respond. When you react, you get a different, there's a different consequences. When you respond, there's a different consequences. And the difference between react and respond is, when you're reacting, you're using your emotion. When you're responding, you're actually using your intellect. And when you respond and you use your intellect, right, the outcome is definitely much better compared to when you just react emotionally. This also requires skill and practice, right? So on the whole, what I would like to say is that happiness comes from within you, not outside you. When I was feeling very overwhelmed with work, I didn't blame my boss for giving me a lot of work. I worked on myself. And because I worked on myself, now, I am at peace. I am at peace at work. I'm at peace in the house, right? So happiness actually comes from within. We need to work on ourselves, okay, in order for us to become happier. Okay, so happiness is a skill. Okay, it's not that you listen to it today or you discovered it today and then you are set. It's not like that. It needs practice. Like, when you want to get into shape, you go to the gym. Just because you go to the gym one day doesn't mean you have perfect health or perfect body. You have to go and exercise, and it takes practice. So similarly, to be happy, to develop happiness is also a skill. And the skill is, you have to persevere and you have to be resilient in focusing on responding to situations instead of reacting, right? When we face adversity, happiness is just, it's not just positive thinking. It's not just like a switch, right? There needs to be a lot of work done for it. And one more thing, positive is not the absence of negative feeling, okay, or the other end of negative feeling. If you're not having any negative feeling, it doesn't mean you are having positive feeling. Okay, sometimes you can have positive and negative feeling together. Okay, you are so excited about something and then you're also very worried about something, right? And one source that contributes to your happiness is your mind, is your thinking. Okay, emotion has more power to dictate your behavior other than your cognition. So that's why we want to be happy. right? So that when we are happy, there are a lot of positive, there are a lot of benefits when you are happy. I think that we will talk about it in another webinar, because that's another whole big topic, the benefits of being happy. But yeah, so if you're happy, it's good for you. All right. But although although your thinking is very powerful, your mind is actually a very powerful tool, but controlling the mind is not a very easy thing, because emotion actually has more influence on your behavior compared to your thinking. Okay, let's say you plan, you want to be in shape, and then there is a delicious chocolate cake in front of you. You are in trouble. Right? So emotion has it takes great strength to control your thinking. So one easy way is you can do it through action. So engage in a behavior or create a habit that can somehow influence your thought process, and that can influence your emotion as well. Right. Yes. Do I have more time, Dash?
Yes, Miss Rajlakshmi, you have another 5 minutes.
Oh, another 5 minutes. I don't think so. I can share the video. I just want to talk a little bit about how powerful our thinking, our mind is. I actually had a video, but the video is actually 10 minutes long, so I will not be able to share it. But let me share the content of the video to you. So there was this group of scientists who were studying placebo effect. So placebo effect is actually usually previously placebo effect was done on pills, on medicines. So what they do is they get a group of people, they divide them into two groups. One group, they give the actual pill that has the effect, and then another group, they give a fake pill. And then they tell these two groups of people that they're getting medication for some purpose, let's say flu. Okay, so let's say all these people are having flu, and these two groups are told that they are receiving flu medication. One group is actually getting the flu medicine, the other group is just getting like a sugar tablet, nothing is there. And then you assess whether they recover. And then if the group that receives the fake pill recovers from flu without getting the actual flu medication, then we say this is placebo effect. Right? Placebo effect actually talks about how powerful our thinking process is when we think that we are getting help. We change. Like, for example, how many of you, you can just reflect back. This happens to me. When I get sick, I go to the clinic, I see the doctor checks me and then said, okay, this is the problem, and then prescribes me medication. When going to the clinic, I feel so terrible, sick. But when I'm coming back from the clinic, I already feel good. I haven't taken the medicine yet, but I already feel good because I know that I'm going to be better because I have the medication. So anyway, so these scientists, this group of scientists, what they wanted to do was they wanted to see whether placebo effect works on surgery. So not just pills, but surgery. So they actually got a group of they got this group of people who needed to go through knee surgery. So these were old people who couldn't walk because their knee, the liquid on their kneecap is already worn off. So they need to do a surgery in order for them to make their knee more, for it to function, and so that it's not painful for them to walk. So this surgery was made placebo. So this one old man was brought into the operation theater. They made a cut on his knee and then they just stitched it up. They didn't do anything. So no knee operation was done on this person, but the person thinks that they actually went through a knee operation. So after the operation was done, when he came out of his from the sedative, he woke up and he walked and he said he has no pain. And the scientists actually followed him for 2 years. And for 2 years, he didn't complain of any pain. Imagine, before the operation, he couldn't walk. He was under so much of pain. After the fake operation, he doesn't feel any pain because in his mind, he has gone through the operation. So can you see how powerful is the mind? Your knee is physically, he is not feeling any pain anymore. So it was not just done on one person, it was done on multiple people. And it was found out that the effect was the same. And at the end of this, what we learn is that your mind is a very powerful tool. What we feed it, what we tell, what we think, what we see and think about can actually, have a very big impact in your life, right? So the mind is something very powerful. So use it to your advantage. So in our brain, in our system, we have this reticular activation system. It's like a filtering system in our brain, right? Sometimes, let's say, for example, you are going to buy a car, and then you are thinking of buying what car? Let's say a Honda Civic. Okay, so you've put the thought in your mind, I want to buy Honda Civic. And then you're driving around and suddenly every car you see is Honda Civic. Have you had that kind of experience? Why is it that suddenly you can see a lot of Honda Civics on the road when previously you did not? It's because you have activated this filter to focus on Honda Civic, right? So unconsciously, the reticular activation system filters the information and sends it to you. Because every day we are bombarded by so many senses, so many stimulus. If we are aware of all the stimulus, it's too much. So we have this inbuilt system in our brain, the reticular activation system, that filters information and gives us information that we need, that it thinks we need. So feed it information that will be helpful for you. Right? Like for me, for example, I in the morning, the first thing, I feed it the information that this is what I want to do for today. This is what I want to accomplish for today. And then, I'm focused and my day folds accordingly. Right? So this is just a little bit about how I dealt with my problem and how I was so overwhelmed, and then I was happier after I did this solution. So I would just like to end my talk by saying that happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own action. So you've got to take that action. Right? And this was said by the Dalai Lama. So that's all from me. Thank you very much. I'm open for questions now.
Thank you, Ms. Rajiv, for sharing with us how to acknowledge the negative sides of our emotions and also sharing with us how to cope with negative emotions. We definitely learned a lot about managing our negative emotions as well. So before we actually head to the question, there's actually a short message from Ishwar. So he said, Miss, when you mentioned that your children can be physically active the whole day and not feel tired, whereas an average adult is way less active compared to a child, and the adult get tired very fast because it's our mind and thoughts that affect us. Really open-minded, Miss Rajalakshmi. Really like this school of thought.
You're welcome, Ishwar.
Moving on to the question, we actually have one question. Based on your experience, what usually triggers your negative emotions and how do you handle it?
Anything can trigger negative emotion. When things, for me personally, when things don't go according to what I want to be, like what I plan to be, because, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, then I get very frustrated. That triggers me a lot. And another thing that triggers me is that when people devalue me, like say that I'm not good, or I know that I am good, and when they criticize, I get very triggered with that. But that's me. That's my nature, right? And what was the question? What triggers me and
how do you actually handle your negative emotions?
So one thing that I found that really works is that react and respond, that phrase. So the moment I face that trigger, of course I'm a human being. I have my reaction. I feel upset. I feel angry. I feel frustrated. But I take a deep breath. I said, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do any actions now. Let me calm down first. So I take a few minutes, and when I'm calmed down, then my emotion is not very strong. So then I can think, I can use my intellect and think and come up with the best solution for that time. So being mindful, that's very important.
Thank you for sharing, Ms. Raji. And we have another question from Ms. Rina. And the question is, what if my daily accomplishment for the day is overloaded and sometimes fail to accomplish it? What should I do about it?
If it keeps on repeating, like let's say you have 7 tasks to do for the day, and then every day you find that you are unable to complete that 7 tasks, maybe it is too much. Maybe you need to reduce the number of tasks that you need to accomplish. But if this happens once in a while, it's not every day that you fail to accomplish the task. That means those days you just need to accept it and say like, okay, today it's just too much for me. Today I'm just going to accept that I didn't finish my task for today. So it depends on the situation.
Is there any more questions from the audience? Maybe we can give a few seconds.
Ms. Rina, does that answer your question? Okay, welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Raji. So I think we don't have any more questions. Okay. So thank you everyone for attending our webinar on a Saturday night. With that, this marks the end of our webinar. For future updates regarding Young Minds events, please refer to our social media pages on Instagram and Facebook. Lastly, this recorded event will be uploaded on our YouTube page, so do take the chance to rewatch it just in case you are experiencing any technical difficulties. And do check out our social media pages as well. We will be posting updates once the recordings are uploaded. I would now like to invite Dr. Krendy to share with us an initiative to help out Persatuan Kebajikan Kanak-Kanak Terencat Akal Malaysia.
Hey, thank you, Dash. I'm back again. All right. So remember just now we talked about the ways to spread happiness. And one of the ways is to give directly, donate and help people directly. Actions speak louder than words. All right. So as you can see on the screen, okay, actually this initiated by Ice Art Craft Studio. You can see that all this art and craft actually done by the studio, and you can just choose any products, any items that catch your eyes, and all the monies will donate to this Persatuan Kebajikan Kanak-Kanak Terencat Akal Malaysia. All right, so this studio is coming up a lot of handmade art and craft, including like bookmarks, journaling, which only you need to pay 8 ringgit, included delivery. And the type B, you can see the frame and canvas flowers is only 18 ringgit. It's also included the delivery. All right, so for more choices, you can actually scan the QR code. Okay, from the screen, you can see the QR code there. You can just scan and it leads you to the Facebook page, and you can see more art and craft there. Uploaded in the Facebook. You can select and choose. If you think that you want to donate more, actually the studio do welcome you. Take for example 8 ringgit for one item. If you want to donate more, 10, 15 or even 20, the studio welcome you to do so. Or you can contact the person in charge, Miss Elise, and call Miss Elise at 019 357 4275. All right, and then the person in charge will guide you how to do the purchase, and then no worries, all the funds collected will fully donated to this Persatuan. So here we really hope everyone spread your love by showing your care to those people who are in need. All right, any questions? If no question, then I pass the floor back to Dash.
Thank you very much, Dr. Candy, for this wonderful initiative. So before ending this session, we would greatly appreciate it if you could spare us a few minutes to fill in our feedback form, which you can find it in the chat box now. So I'm giving you guys, you guys can actually fill it up after the event as well. So once again, thank you so much to all of our speakers as well as our participants for sharing with us your inputs and personal experiences about mental health and happiness. And thank you to all of our participants for taking the time to attend this session. So with that, we will now end this session. Please be safe, be healthy, and be well. With that, goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Good night. Thanks, Dash.
Thank you so much, Dr. Krandy and Ms. Raji. Don't
Most
forget to
welcome.
fill out the feedback form.
All right. Bye.
Bye.